Hey Jonesy, Drew from Fox Sports. How's training in isolation been?
Not too bad, mate. I don't find it too difficult, to be honest. Um, Obviously, we're only allowed to train in pairs at the moment, so the running and footy side of things is a bit difficult. But most guys have got sort of gym setups or enough equipment to get by. So making it work at this point in time.
So who's your partner and what's the skill that you're working on? Because I've heard Stephen May's going to play guitar, Maxi Gorn learning Italian. What's your specialty going to be?
I actually haven't narrowed it down at this stage. I'm just I got my hands full with a couple of kids. It's easy for those blokes to say they're going to learn a skill when they're not home full time with the young ones. That's for sure. So me and Jake Melksham are partners, and we were discussing this the other day. So I think something along the lines of cooking or cleaning, those kind of things are probably more up my alley.
Jonesy, Tim here from Channel 7. What have you thought about Brayshaw's love of onions?
It's probably a great indication that a few boys are going a bit loopy, I would have thought. But no, whatever. I think it's a bit of fun. Obviously, he's a massive fan of the barbecued onion. He's copped a little bit of stick here and there, but I think it makes for great entertainment. And a lot of people have got behind it. Boys think it's pretty funny. So, no, I love it.
Is this a new wave of the players interacting with their fans, social media, posting videos of what they're up to at home, all that kind of stuff? It seems to be what everyone's doing now.
Yeah, quite possibly. I think there's, there'll probably be some good to come out of it, to be honest. I think what you are getting to see, as you said, is probably some greater insights into the players, as people. And, I think the willingness for guys to share stuff via social media is a way of obviously keeping connected. We're doing it even just keeping connected with our closer knit communities, families and friends. So, obviously guys are more willing to share that kind of stuff and probably, get to shed a bit of light on, their personalities and what they enjoy outside of footy, which I think is important and will give some great context, for to the fans and people that follow along.
How are you going to keep the competitive juices flowing, Jonesy, while you're in isolation?
Well, I pit my son and daughter against each other a little bit, and I get involved every now and again as well. So I guess in our house it's with the kids, but as I said, as far as from a training point of view goes, we get down the park in pairs. So generally we've been down at Sandy Footy Ground with maybe 2 or 3 pairs separately on the ground. So we sort of get to interact from a distance, but unfortunately don't get to train together in a big group.
Jonesy is one of the leaders of the club. Have you sort of had to reach out to some of the younger guys and check in on how they're going?
Yeah, we've got a few little groups going. So we've had a couple of Zoom meetings and, got a couple of little projects. I think as you guys must have heard with Max and Steve, there's a few little challenges out there and a few little, groups, whether that be sort of WhatsApp, Instagram, Zoom, all these kind of things, as much as we can to sort of keep interacting. But we're also encouraging guys to enjoy the family time. The boys from interstate have gone back home and get to spend time time with their family in a time of the year when generally they wouldn't have any free time. So I think it's important that we find that balance, but definitely we're trying to stay as connected as possible through the various sort of ways via social media and the like, and making sure we mainly check in on those younger guys about keeping occupied and not sort of getting stuck in the mud with boredom.
Nathan, what about from a team's point of view? You guys were set to come out of so-called that year from hell last year, and you're all primed mentally and physically to get going again. What does this do from a team perspective to kind of having to reset and put all this on hold and that drive and desire to come out of last year?
Not a great deal, really. I think what it's done is allow people to look at footy in perspective. And really we're dealing with something that's much bigger than that now. And, ultimately we all want to go out there, perform and play and do the things that we love. But most importantly at this time, it's about, caring and supporting and, keeping safe both individually and collectively as a group, and then obviously our wider and closer-knit family. So ultimately, we've put that on hold for the time being. Obviously, I think Goody's done a terrific job in making sure that, guys can, get away and experience that and and enjoy the time away from the game that we have right now, knowing full well that we have put in the work and that'll hold us in good stead, providing we continue to commit to connecting with each other, that when we get back, we will be in a very strong position, having known or put in the work that we did over the summer.
Because that's a big one, the disruption of, keeping that focus and mentally as well and amongst the team. So can you just touch on again what you're doing to kind of keep that drive? Like, because it's hard to get up. Is it not to get up for the big games, to get up for the season? Now that's all on hold. You're going to have to kind of reset and go again at some point. You feel that you'll be ready to do that whenever that is?
Yeah, for sure. I think, as I said, Goody's been really good in, striking up the right balance, I feel, at the moment, for guys to get home and escape from the footy rather than, diving back into a pre-season type mentality. But in saying that, we've got great connection amongst different various forms of social media that boys are interacting, whether it be with fitness staff, whether it be with coaches, whether it be in, small or big groups or as an entire team, to make sure that we are either, discussing training or, some accountability around, getting out in pairs and doing the work that we need to do, or, just sharing what they're doing, what they're experiencing and how they're feeling, being away in isolation at the moment. So, I think that's going to leave us in a good position to, not burn ourselves out mentally and come back ready to attack the season whenever that may start.
Hey, Jonesy, Jace from AAP, mate. Just on that want to improve from last year, how did you review that first quarter against West Coast, with that in the background?
To be honest, mate, we actually haven't had a chance to even review that game. I think, I obviously wasn't playing, so I'm not 100% sure what Goody even said post-game, just due to the fact that everything that went down probably an hour or two prior to the game starting. Since then, we haven't actually got back together as a group, unfortunately, through, some of the decisions, obviously, that have, or some of the issues that have transpired since then. So I couldn't give you a really clear picture. I think, from watching the game, I think there were some real positives out of how we played, but in the end, it's hard to read into it too much with everything that was going on around that. I think, we would be disappointed, or the players would be disappointed, that we didn't get the result we're after. But in the end, there were some bigger issues at play, and we'll, as I said, use this time to reset. We're very confident in the work and the time that we put in over the off season, and we look forward to the opportunity to get back and play a conventional season and have a real crack at it whenever that time may be.
A conditioning viewpoint, do you reckon most of the guys will be able to hit round 2 whenever that is, as they would have round 1, or is that perhaps a bit unreasonable a goal?
No, I don't think so. I think the way I sort of understand it is, at some point when they make that decision, that we are going to proceed with the season, and, possibly when that start date will be, the clubs will have more access to the players for potentially a month before that game starts. So, I think in that period, providing guys keep up their fitness space, I think that main month period prior to starting games will all be about skill and game style, and just reintroducing all that stuff and bringing guys back up to speed. But, I don't really have any queries, after, so many years in the system now, and also having seen how our group came back over the off season just gone. I'm sure that, guys will do the right thing as far as from a strength and fitness point of view, and everyone's going to do as much as they can from a skill point of view, albeit quite limited with only being able to train in a pair. So I'm assuming whenever that may be, we'll get straight back into it and have a month of full-on training with a lot of skills work, and then hit the season running.
Jones, you thought about how the rework season might affect you? Does a shortened season help you? Does the shorter breaks potentially between games, does that hinder you? Have you thought about that?
As a team?
As you personally?
No, I'm excited about that. I think, what this year provides us with is potentially to be more fluid than we've ever been as a competition, and potentially try some stuff that, maybe, had we never faced this issue globally like we ever have before, we wouldn't consider some of the options that are being thrown out right about now. And I like the fact that the competition committed to a 17-game season. I think that's been sort of floated around over the last few years. I like that from a, I guess, an evenness point of view, a fairness point of view. A lot of people have questioned the fixture over a long period of time, or in the time that I've been involved in the game. And I think now that alleviates some of that. I like some of the other ideas being thrown around, potentially playing a best-of-3 grand final series, potentially playing grand final on Boxing Day or New Year's Eve. I think some of those things excite me personally. And I think for the players having to, take this time away from the game, I expect there to be such a huge amount of excitement and willingness to get back on the park. I think hopefully, all things going well, fingers crossed that we do get that. We could see a really terrific product come the end of the year, and what an amazing year it would be if it finished off the way some people are speculating it possibly could.
Most people have been negative about the 3-game grand final series. How come you like that idea?
Well, I just don't see why not, really. We haven't been able to play as many games as we potentially would have. And I think anything that, can draw interest and draw excitement back to the game, obviously, hopefully galvanising fans and the community and regenerating some of that excitement that we all know AFL does. I think that would provide, any of those options provide that for or on a bigger perspective, and I think that's an important thing to consider. And in the end, it's I think it would be terrific.
Nathan, your brother kind of convinced you to kind of find some new motivation for this year and keep you going after last year. Is that kind of a bit of personal motivation as well, like feeling that you can play into November, December, whatever it might be?
I think all I've sort of said is just finding the passion to play again. And after spending 5 or 6 months through a pre-season, that passion's burning more than ever. And I can assure you that that'd be like all players out there right now. The fact that you've gone through an arduous pre-season in preparation for the year, and then obviously had to put that on hold, that's going to build some excitement and some want to get out there. And I'm no different to anyone else. I've still got that burning desire, and I'm excited to get out there. And I'm hoping that this season is still alive, and we do get through this issue that we're facing at the moment, and we can see footy thrive again.
It's a small sample size. How have you seen Max being the sole skipper?
Well, I wasn't there for the game in Perth, but he's done a terrific job over the summer. He's been a terrific leader for us for a few years now, in the capacity that we now see him in. I think he's primed for it. He's put a lot of work into his leadership and invested in the group significantly. And I've always been a strong supporter of Maxi and a big advocate for him to take over, particularly from when I stepped away. So I think he's done a terrific job so far. And he's been awesome, particularly I think the true test of his leadership has been the last couple of weeks, to be honest. And he's been awesome in, as I said, driving some of that connection stuff via social media and via these different apps and avenues that we have to stay in touch as a team. He's doing an amazing job at this rate.
Jonesy, if it was a shortened season, let's say 12 or 13 games, would that change how you feel about trying to play on next year?
No, not at all. I just want to get out there and hopefully prove to myself, which is the main thing, that I am still capable, which I felt like I did that through my pre-season and my pre-season form. Unfortunately, I had a little niggle leading into round one that wasn't really worth risking it. And I'm pretty confident I can get fit and be ready to go once the season resumes. And as I said at the start of the year, and that doesn't change right now, until I don't feel like I've got anything left to offer, that'll be the time that I feel like it's the right time to retire. And right now I still feel like I've got a lot to offer this team and this group.
Yeah, well, that's sort of what I was getting at, was that if you only had a smaller sample size this season, you'd almost feel even more keen to make sure you went around again.
Oh, absolutely. It's only this has only given me a hint, particularly at this point in my career. It's a hint of what it would be like when footy isn't there anymore. And I already am missing the routine and the chance to interact with the boys and that connection that you get day to day. It's something that you'd absolutely miss. And it's almost, I think for a lot of guys, but particularly me, it's probably going to be a blessing in disguise to really appreciate what you've got, and be really grateful for the opportunity that we have, and not take it for granted when we get back, and really invest in, one, your career, but two, giving back as much as you can, because it's played a big and important part in my life. Been lucky enough to have quite a successful career, and that's been a great support for my family and my kids and stuff. And I don't want to see that go just yet. And as I said, I still physically and mentally feel in a space where I can perform at the level. And I'm excited for however long that may be. I probably can't put a number or a date on it, but I'll be going and pushing for as long as I can.